Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network, a division of the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network. The following program broadcast is an original creation by the broadcast entity. Discussion within the following broadcast should be used for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice or consultation. Before considering application of any broadcast content in the following program, please consult your healthcare provider. If you feel you are having a medical emergency, please contact your local health services for immediate assistance. MS&Me Media and the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network do not guarantee or warrant the accuracy of information in the broadcast to follow. The Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network provisions broadcast services to program hosts. Information discussed in the broadcast does not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or goals of the network and are solely those of the show broadcast host. Should you wish to host a broadcast, please visit our website at msmemedia.com and submit a request to become a program host. We thank you for listening to the MS&Me Radio Network. Enjoy the show.
Hello, my name is Shirley Merritt, and I want to welcome everyone to my show. I call it Raspberry Lemonade. Let's talk. First, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for this blessing. I also want to thank the staff at MS&Me Radio Network for affording me this opportunity to bring my show to this forum once again. Today's topic is titled, I Need a Hero. When I was a young girl, my hero was that girl. You all remember, it was a TV series starring Marlo Thomas. She played Anne Marie. She was a model and an actress, and she had a boyfriend and later fiance. He was a handsome journalist, I think. His name was Donald Hollinger. Later, my hero became the Bionic Woman. Lindsay Wagner played Jamie Summers. She was a tennis pro, and she had been critically injured. They gave her bionic limbs, and she gained superhuman strength in her arm and both legs. They put a hearing device in her ear, which gave her an amplified hearing. Now, this character reminds me of myself, because I would gladly trade my right arm with all of the muscle spasticity and my two very weak legs for bionic ones with superhuman strength. Everyone remembers Florence Henderson. She played Carol Brady in the hit TV series The Brady Bunch. She was the all-too-perfect mother for her 3 daughters and a stepmother to her 3 new sons. Through her marriage with Mr. Brady, she inherited a live-in housekeeper named Alice, remember her? And a dog named Tiger. Carol was all of a sudden in charge of the Brady clan. Because it was such a new and huge responsibility, she was now my new hero. One of my most favorite heroes was Julia Baker. I don't know if you all remember her, but she was an African American nurse in the late 60s and early 70s. She was played by actress Diane Carroll. Remember her? Everybody remembers Diane Carroll. She was a widow raising her son Corey. Her role was the first to depict an African American woman in a non-stereotypical role. Before then, they played like maids and house cleaners, babysitters, mammies. So I fast forward a few decades, and Annette Funicello is now my hero. You remember her. She was the beautiful brunette from the Musketeers. When she grew up, she was in the 1960s beach movies with Frankie Avalon. Well, she battled a very aggressive form of MS, and she died at the age of 70 in 2013. She died from complications related to MS. Now, I'm sure that I've dated myself because I've been talking about all of those very old television shows that I always had to watch. In fact, I would watch them every single day. I never missed a week. And I would just wait. I couldn't hardly wait for the next week for them to all repeat themselves. I even knew which nights they were coming on. I knew exactly which ones I knew the lineups. Anyway, I like to think of MS survivors as warriors. We heard about people like Annette Funicello and Richard Pryor, both celebrities who were in the prime of their lives and careers, battling this monster of a disease, and theirs was quite progressive. Richard Pryor was diagnosed, I believe, 20 years before he died of heart failure at the age of 65. I guess they would be considered the forerunners, at least the only ones we knew about. I'm sure there were other people who had MS before them. Maybe they didn't know about it, they didn't know it was MS, or maybe we just never heard of them. We kind of started realizing that there was such an illness when Annette Funicello came out with it. She did not come out to the public when she was first diagnosed. I think it was like in the early 90s when she finally came forth and admitted that she had been battling multiple sclerosis. I've known many people living with multiple sclerosis, and I haven't known any two of them to have the same exact symptoms, however. And I found that even when they do have similar symptoms, they seem to manage them differently. For example, I have severe muscle spasticity in my right arm, and if it weren't for baclofen and menthol muscle rubs, I wouldn't be able to live with the discomfort of it. I wouldn't wish this feeling on my worst enemy. I feel like I'm wearing a straitjacket sometimes, especially like when I wake up early in the morning. My arm wants to bend toward my torso, and I have to try to straighten it out. I will try to pin it up under me, under my body, to try to straighten my arm out because the muscle is so contracted, it just will not relax. Then once I take some baclofen and start moving around, it relaxes a little bit. You know, it seems though everyone's fight is so very different. Everyone who has MS. I see some victims, and I do feel like I'm a victim. feel like we're all victims. Anyway, they have a relapse that may cause them to have to use a walker, or it might even put them in a wheelchair, you know. A few months later, however, they're walking independently again. I believe when you see this scenario, it must be relapsing, remitting disease. Then on the other hand, I've seen them never stop using the walker or permanently be in a wheelchair or a power chair. This is probably more of a secondary progressive disease. I've used a walker for 5 years now, yet I do still have relapses. In either case, MS is more than a daily struggle for me. It's a kind of combative situation that I never fathomed I would ever be in. When I think about how much more difficult simple tasks are, things like bringing groceries upstairs, because I have to move the bags up on each step, one step at a time. And you can forget me trying to bring a case of water up. I have to leave the case in the garage and bring about maybe 8 bottles up in a bag at a time. Sometimes I'll buy several of the 6-packs because at least I can put them in a plastic bag separately and bring them up. That's even a task. That's even heavy because, water's heavy. I tell you, I'm a sight to see when I have to bring the groceries upstairs. If I have some lightweight bags, I can hang them on my walker and carry several up at one time, because I carry my walker up as I go upstairs and I carry it down when I come downstairs. To say the least, bringing groceries up is a demanding chore, and it is usually followed by a tremendous amount of fatigue. The fortunate thing is that when I'm fatigued, I can sit down for a 5 or 10 minute power rest, and then I'm able to get right back up and get going again. That's the good thing about my fatigue, but everybody experiences symptoms differently. Some people have severe fatigue, which mine is pretty severe when I feel it. It's just that it goes away quickly. But some people are so fatigued that they literally have to get in bed and sleep all day. I remember a friend that I had, she came over. She said, "Why don't you decorate your Christmas tree?" And I said, I really don't feel like it this year. I'm just not in, I'm in the Christmas spirit, but I didn't feel like decorating. It takes a lot to get my tree set up. I have over 200 or 300 decorations. And it really takes a lot out of me to decorate it because I get so into it. I'm so meticulous. Every decoration has to be strategically placed on that tree. And they have to be turned the right way. The little rope that they hang from can't be showing. The little knot cannot be showing. Oh my God, I'm so meticulous. And I'm just so detailed. And really no one can help me decorate my tree because I'll end up redoing whatever they've done. So anyway, she came over. She said, "You ought to put up your tree." She said, "I'll come over and help you." So she came over, and she was able to walk, without a walker. So she actually brought the decorations up. So when she got upstairs and we started decorating the tree, she was sitting down on the sofa and I was the one standing and happily decorating the tree. All of a sudden she said, "I hate to tell you this, Shirley, but I'm worn out now. I've got to go home. I'm sorry. And I thought, but we just started. And she had worn herself out carrying the decorations up the stairs. See, she experiences fatigue in a way that I cannot even relate to. But I couldn't believe it when she had literally had to go home. She said, "That's it for me for the day. I'll go home, take a nap, and probably stay in bed for the rest of the night." I said, "But it's only, what, 2 o'clock in the afternoon?" But, people know their own bodies, and she knew that she had worn herself out. Now, I used to be able to do things like vacuum the steps myself. I could carry the equipment with my strong arm and my non-spastic arm. Then I would hold on to the handrail with the other one, the weaker one. But not anymore. My right hand is much too weak to get a good grip on the handrail, and I could actually have an accident. It could be very dangerous for me. I used to be able to do everything myself. Sometimes I stand back and look around at my decorated home and find it so very hard to believe that I did this all myself, all by myself. When I first moved in, when I first bought the house, the first thing I did was go out and buy the stuff that I wanted in every room. I would decorate one room at a time, but I had my entire house decorated in a couple of months. Some people live in their new homes for a couple of years before they even get stuff decorated. But I stood back and I look around. I do this often. I stand back and I look around and I think about how, man, I did this all myself. I hammered every nail and hung every picture frame. I brought in every accent rug, curtain rod, and hung the curtains in the kitchen windows. I can remember when changing the shower curtain started to become challenging because my arm extension and my hand dexterity was no longer the same. But God said, "Don't worry, I got you." The MS Foundation approved home cleaning visits for 15 in the year 2017. I got 15 visits, and I said, "Well, do I have to take them all together and then not have anyone for the rest of the year? Or can I space them out so I can have like one per month?" I said, "That's all I need, one per month." She said I could do that. And then when those were exhausted, when those 15 from the MS Foundation were exhausted, guess what? I called the MS Society and they approved 500 more hours for 2018. So I have 2 more visits with the MS Foundation, October and November. And then in December, the MS Society will start, and they'll probably carry me through the end of 2018. It's hard though when you have someone coming over and helping to clean your home because you want to be able to do it, but you cannot. So you have to delegate to them what to do. And, they probably feel like, well, I know how to clean, but they don't know how to clean it the way I would clean it. So it's really hard watching someone else clean what I used to do. I'll tell you something else that I used to, well, this is something that I still do, cooking. Cooking is something that I love to do for myself. Oh, and especially now that I've gone plant-based diet, vegan, you just about have to prepare all of your meals in the kitchen. You have to cook, vegetables, steamed vegetables, and, you know, if I don't eat meat anymore, so I'll eat the chicken veggie patties or the veggie burgers that are kosher. No soy, because soy is bad for us. Soy causes cancer. But I've come up with ways of sautéing them, browning them on the top of the stove, and I'm not able to cut with a knife anymore because my right hand has lost most of its function. So I can't do much with my right hand. So I buy vegetables that are already cut up. I buy the frozen carrots and cauliflower and broccoli, florets, and what else comes in that? It's four things: carrots, cauliflower, broccoli, and oh, I can't think. But anyway, I buy that so that I don't have to worry about cutting them up. So I love to cook, but the thing about cooking is that I have to stand. And even though I have a walker, standing is really hard on my legs. So I end up sometimes leaning on the counter with my elbows, and that's how I'm able to make it through. But I enjoy cooking so much that I don't really feel the discomfort. It's not pain, it's just like my hamstrings might, you know, be uncomfortable, or they'll feel strained, like I've been running a marathon. Um, wow, my time's running out. I've been talking a lot. Um, so anyway, cooking, but I do it because I enjoy it. Um, I have a split foyer house, so I have like downstairs. The main floor is the upstairs. I bought the wrong floor plan. The downstairs has the exercise room, the car, the garage. I have to take my little girl, Penny, outside at least 3 times a day to do her business. And I do this with no stair lift. So it's very challenging. I'm probably going to have to break down and buy a stair lift soon, or either move out and buy a ranch. Um, Cleaning the kitchen and bathrooms I can do. But then the house lady comes and does things like mop the floor. Um, I thank God that I'm able to drive so I can take myself everywhere I need to go. I can go get groceries and I just have someone bring them out to my car for me. And then when I get home, oh, that's the chore, getting them into the house. Um, Anything that has to be done, God helps me to find a way to get it done. What I really want to say is that since my diagnosis and while living with this illness, I have developed an incredible amount of emotional strength and courage. The challenges and the assignments that I used to always avoid, I'm tackling head on now. I feel accomplished and self assured. The level of confidence that I have in myself is amazing. It was never like this before. I wonder what happened. Where did I get this boldness? Where did this boldness come from? I'll tell you where. You see, everything that I once depended on was taken away from me. My ability to walk, stand up straight, use my arm, hand, and fingers. I can no longer work. I can no longer run after my future and my dreams. Suddenly, no one seemed to notice me anymore. I figured that I had two choices. Either I could lay down and die, or I could stand up and live life, the very best life that I could possibly imagine. I'm so glad that I had the will and the faith in God to do it. And you know what I began to realize? I saw that the hero that I've been looking for is now me. That's right. I am my hero. And, it's just amazing how good I feel about it. I never thought that being diagnosed with MS and becoming disabled would help me in the way that it has, if you will. I know that sounds strange, but I'm actually a better person because of it. I'm able to, realize things that I didn't do before, that I didn't realize before. So I'm grateful in a sense to certain things that it has brought me. And with that being said, we are at the end of my show. I have enjoyed talking to you all so very much. Time got away from me, and I apologize for that. I actually had to skip over some of the things that I wanted to talk about because I kind of went off on a tangent. But I just want to say that, we are so strong. We are awesome. And we need to recognize that we are all heroes. I needed a hero, and I found that hero in myself. So, with that being said, people, I look forward to talking to you again next week. I hope you enjoyed my show and listening to me. And I wish you happiness and blessings. Have a wonderful, terrific week. I want to thank the station managers. And you all are awesome. You're all incredible people. So, with that being said, I'm going to sign off now and say goodbye. See you next time.